Welcome to Sinister Saga Studio, your one stop for everything horror.
Step into the abyss.
Ravenwood, a quaint town nestled at the edge of the foreboding Blackwood Forest, held more secrets than met the eye. Among the locals, a chilling legend gripped the imagination. The haunting tale of Hollow Lake, passed down through generations, the story told of a lake cursed by a tragedy so profound that the spirits of the departed were said to roam its shores, forever seeking peace. In this mysterious town lived Sam Turner, a typical teenager with an insatiable appetite for adventure. His untamed mop of hair and the perpetual mischievous glint in his eyes belied a curiosity that often got him into thrilling situations. One summer day, he gathered his group of friends around a crackling campfire, the warmth of the flames contrasting with the cool night air. Have you guys ever wondered about Hollow Lake? They say it's haunted, cursed even. What if we ditch the usual weekend routine and go see for ourselves? Sam proposed, his eyes alive with excitement. His friends exchanged hesitant glances, uncertainty written on their faces. The legends surrounding Hollow Lake were like a ghostly warning, but the allure of a real adventure was too tempting to resist. Eventually, fueled by the thrill of the unknown, the group agreed to embark on a journey that would soon blur the lines between reality and the supernatural. The next morning, with camping gear and a mix of anticipation and nerves, they set off for the mysterious Hollow Lake. The air around Blackwood Forest seemed to thicken as they ventured deeper into its heart. The sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy of trees, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. The usual lively sounds of birds and rustling leaves took on an eerie quality, as if nature itself held its breath in anticipation of the intruders. As they approached the ominous waters of Hollow Lake, a sense of foreboding settled over the group. The once vibrant forest now seemed to whisper caution, the leaves rustling with unseen warnings. The lake, normally a picturesque scene, carried a weight of sorrow in its dark ripples. Still, Sam, with his trademark bravado, dismissed the unease as the product of overactive imaginations. By the time evening painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, they had pitched their tents near the lake's edge. The dying embers of the day reflected on the water's surface, and the atmosphere turned solemn. The nocturnal creatures began their haunting serenade, but this time, the familiar sounds seemed to hold a mysterious undertone. Sam, however, remained blissfully unaware that the legends whispered in Ravenwood were not merely stories, but a chorus of caution, urging the living to reconsider their journey into the enigma of Hollow Lake. The night descended upon the campsite like a heavy cloak, shrouding everything in an inky darkness. The crackling campfire offered the only sanctuary against the encroaching blackness. The group huddled together, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames, as the forest around them seemed to come alive with unseen movements. As the initial excitement of the adventure waned, a subtle unease settled over the camp. Sam, however, tried to dispel the growing tension with a forced laugh. "Come on, guys. It's just a lake. What could possibly be so scary?" he quipped, attempting to mask the hint of uncertainty in his own voice. The group nervously laughed along, but the atmosphere remained charged with an unspoken fear. The rustling leaves and distant hoots of an owl took on a sinister quality, as if nature itself was whispering secrets that were better left unheard. As the night wore on, the group decided to explore the lake's edge. Armed with flashlights, they ventured into the shadows that clung to the trees like ghosts. The beams of light cut through the darkness, revealing gnarled branches and twisted roots that seemed to reach out like skeletal fingers. Near the water's edge, Sam noticed a peculiar mist hovering just above the surface of Hollow Lake. It danced and swirled, taking on ethereal shapes that sent shivers down his spine. The air turned colder, and a distant, mournful wail echoed through the stillness. "Did you guys hear that?" Sam whispered, his eyes wide with a mixture of awe and trepidation. His friends nodded, their expressions mirroring his own unease. The mist, now thickening, began to form vague, shadowy figures that moved with an otherworldly grace. Panic flickered in the group's eyes as the reality of their situation sank in. Hollow Lake was anything but ordinary. Suddenly, the mist coalesced into a spectral silhouette, and a whisper echoed in the night air. "Why have you come?" The group stood frozen, their breaths caught in their throats. Before anyone could respond, the apparition glided towards them, its form shifting and contorting. The once muted sounds of the forest crescendoed into a cacophony of eerie whispers, and the temperature plummeted. In the midst of this surreal encounter, a chilling realization dawned upon Sam and his friends. The legends were true, and the lake held a malevolent force that defied explanation. The horror they sought was no longer a mere tale. It had materialized before them, and the haunting had just begun. The spectral figure, its form undulating like shadows in the moonlight, hovered before Sam and his friends. A cold wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it a mournful melody that seemed to resonate from the depths of Hollow Lake. "Why have you come?" the ghostly voice repeated, each word dripping with an otherworldly sorrow. Fear gripped the group, and Sam, attempting to mask his unease, stammered, We didn't mean any harm. We just wanted to see if the stories were true." The figure, seemingly unsatisfied with the response, stretched its shadowy limbs towards the group. As it did, the temperature plummeted further, and an icy chill settled over the campsite. Panic set in, and Sam's friends, unable to contain their fear any longer, stumbled backward. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the eerie silence. The group turned to see one of Sam's friends, Emma, frozen in terror. Her gaze was fixated on the lake, where another ethereal form began to emerge from the water. It was a ghostly apparition, dripping with water, and its eyes filled with immense sadness. As the figure drew closer, Emma's scream intensified. The ghostly presence reached out to her, and with a sudden, inexplicable force, she was pulled towards the lake. Sam and the others could only watch in horror as she was engulfed by the water, the surface rippling and then settling into an unnatural calm. A shocked silence gripped the remaining members of the group. Sam felt a knot tighten in his stomach, a mix of guilt and terror intertwining. The reality of the situation had escalated far beyond their expectations. The legends weren't just stories, they were warnings of a tragedy waiting to unfold. The ghostly figure turned back to Sam and his friends, its sorrowful gaze fixed upon them. "Leave this place," it whispered, the words carrying an unspoken threat. Without hesitation, the group gathered what little courage remained and fled from the lake's edge. The forest, once a playground for their curiosity, now felt like a labyrinth of shadows and unseen perils. As they stumbled through the darkness, the mournful wails of the spirits echoed behind them, a haunting reminder of the tragedy that had befallen their ill-fated expedition. Back at the campsite, the absence of Emma cast a pall over the group. The crackling campfire seemed feeble against the encroaching darkness, and the air held a tangible heaviness. Each member grappled with the weight of guilt and grief, their minds unable to comprehend the supernatural horrors they had witnessed. The night, which had started with the promise of adventure, now unfolded as a nightmare. The haunting of Hollow Lake had claimed its first victim, and Sam and his friends were left to grapple with the haunting truth. They had trespassed into a realm where the living were not welcome, and the consequences were as chilling as the tales that warned them away. The group now, a fractured and somber assembly, huddled together near the dwindling campfire. The tragedy at Hollow Lake had cast a dark cloud over their once carefree excursion. The chilling wind whispered through the trees, and the shadows seemed to elongate, as if the very fabric of reality had been torn. Unable to shake off the weight of sorrow and fear, Sam's mind raced with unanswered questions. Why had Emma been taken? What did the spirits of Hollow Lake want? The ghostly apparitions, now mere memories haunting their thoughts, left an indelible mark on the survivors. As the night wore on, the temperature continued to drop, and an oppressive silence settled over the campsite. The remaining friends huddled closer, seeking solace in each other's company. Every rustle of leaves or distant creak of a branch sent shivers down their spines, and the crackling campfire offered little comfort against the encroaching darkness. Sam, driven by a mix of fear and determination, proposed they seek answers. "We can't just sit here. We need to understand what's happening. Maybe there's a way to end this curse, to free Emma and appease the spirits." His friends exchanged wary glances but ultimately nodded in agreement. Armed with flashlights and a newfound sense of trepidation, they retraced their steps to the lake's edge. The once familiar surroundings now felt like a haunted labyrinth, each shadow hiding an unknown threat. As they approached the water, the atmosphere thickened with an almost tangible malevolence. The mist that had danced eerily on the surface before now clung to the air like a spectral veil. The ghostly figure that had claimed Emma emerged once more, its form a haunting silhouette against the moonlit waters. "Why have you returned?" It intoned, its voice a lament that echoed through the night. "We need to understand. We need to know what you want," Sam implored, his voice trembling with a mix of desperation and fear. The ghostly figure regarded them with eyes that held centuries of sorrow. "The curse cannot be lifted, but you may find redemption. Seek the heart of the forest where the lost souls yearn for release." With those cryptic words, the figure dissipated into the mist, leaving the group bewildered and unnerved. The heart of the forest. What did it mean? The survivors exchanged uncertain glances, grappling with the gravity of the task before them. Driven by a newfound sense of purpose, they delved deeper into Blackwood Forest, guided only by the moonlight filtering through the dense canopy. The air became dense with an oppressive energy, and the forest seemed to close in around them. Unseen eyes watched from the shadows, and the distant sounds of lamentation filled the night. As they ventured further, the trees twisted into grotesque shapes, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The air became charged with an otherworldly energy, and strange symbols etched onto the tree trunks hinted at an ancient power that pulsed through the heart of the forest. Finally, they reached a clearing where the moonlight cast an ethereal glow. In the center stood a gnarled tree, its roots digging deep into the earth. The air around the tree vibrated with a haunting resonance, and the group sensed they had arrived at the epicenter of the supernatural forces that gripped Hollow Lake. As they approached, the ground trembled, and the spirits of the forest materialized. Tormented souls, their eyes vacant yet filled with longing, surrounded the tree. The air became thick with a palpable sorrow, and the group understood that these lost souls were the key to unlocking the mysteries of Hollow Lake. The clearing in the heart of Blackwood Forest pulsed with an otherworldly energy as Sam and his friends confronted the tormented spirits that lingered in the spectral glow. The ancient tree at the center seemed to whisper secrets carried through centuries, and the symbols etched on its bark glowed with an ethereal light. "Seek the heart of your fears. Only then can the curse be broken." A disembodied voice echoed, resonating through the air. Driven by a sense of duty and desperation, the group gazed into the depths of the ancient tree. As they did, a collective vision unfolded. A haunting montage of the past, revealing the tragedy that had befallen the lake centuries ago. A forbidden love, a betrayal, and a desperate act that led to the curse that now held Hollow Lake in its icy grip. The spirits, once lost and anguished, now bore witness to the living. Their eyes, filled with an ethereal glow, implored Sam and his friends to unravel the threads of the past and break the chains that bound them to the haunting shores. Guided by the vision, the group retraced the steps of the ill-fated lovers, uncovering forgotten memories that lay buried in the annals of time. As they moved deeper into the forest, the air became heavy with the weight of the past. and the trees seemed to whisper the secrets of centuries long gone. Finally, at the edge of Hollow Lake, they discovered a forgotten shrine, a place of love and betrayal frozen in time. It was here that the tragedy had unfolded, and the spirits, bound by their unresolved anguish, sought release. Sam, now standing at the precipice of understanding, realized that the key to breaking the curse lay in confronting the heart of fear, the very essence of the tragedy that had cursed Hollow Lake. With a mixture of trepidation and determination, the group enacted a ritual guided by the ancient symbols etched on the shrine. As the ritual unfolded, the air crackled with energy, and the spirits that had long lingered in sorrow began to dissipate. The haunting cries that had echoed through the forest softened into a melancholic melody, and the moonlit waters of Hollow Lake shimmered with a newfound serenity. The ancient tree in the heart of Blackwood Forest seemed to sigh with relief, its roots no longer bound by the weight of the past. The symbols on its bark glowed one final time before fading into obscurity. The ghostly apparition that had taken Emma emerged once more, its eyes reflecting gratitude. "You have freed us from the shackles of time. The curse is lifted." With those words, the spirits, now touched by a sense of peace, dissolved into the night. The mist that had clung to Hollow Lake evaporated, revealing a tranquil expanse of water reflecting the starlit sky. As dawn broke, Sam and his friends stood at the edge of the lake, their faces marked by the trials they had endured. The horror that had gripped Hollow Lake had been confronted and, against all odds, subdued. The town of Ravenwood, once shrouded in ominous whispers, would now remember the group as unlikely heroes who faced the supernatural and emerged victorious. As they left the haunted shores behind, the air carried a newfound stillness. The legends of Hollow Lake, once tales of warning, would transform into a story of redemption, a testament to the resilience of the living and the power to confront even the most malevolent of hauntings. The sun rose over Ravenwood, casting its warm light on the now tranquil waters of Hollow Lake. Sam and his friends, forever changed by their harrowing encounter with the supernatural, walked away from the forest, their footsteps echoing through the quiet town that would from that day forward hold a secret only they truly understood. The haunting of Hollow Lake had come to an end, leaving behind a legacy of courage, sacrifice, and the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of the unknown.